everyone. Now, welcome to yet another episode of Yuvaap podcast. And today, like every time, we have a very special guest for you. Now, he is Mr. Hormazd Siganporia. He's an immersive soundscape designer and a massage specialist whose journey to corrective bodywork has been very dynamic and very consistent. He has over 20 years of experience in this field. So we have a lot of things to learn from him. We have a lot of things to experiment with him. And he has worked with world-renowned spas across 4 countries with diverse practitioners. He has even worked with Jiva Spa, and his experience is such a wide experience that we have so many questions today, and we are getting so many other questions from the audience, which we want this session to be extremely useful and extremely new learning experience for you. So welcome, Mr. Hormazd. Thank you so much for coming on our show. And first of all, if you could... Yes, thank you. And first of all, if you could give your journey, how come you started this field, this career in this field? What was your inspiration? How did you move into this career?
So I'll just give you a heads up right from the start that whatever comes out of my mouth will be like, the absolute truth and like, the uncut version without any masala or anything. So to be honest, the journey started back in 2002, and I did my commerce graduate certification, and back then it was a phase where, like, jaise life chala tha, waise apni gaadi chal rahi hai. There was no dimension of like, okay, I will craft my life the way I want to. That dimension, that awareness, that consciousness was just not there. So I finished my commerce graduate, and then I was almost ready to take up a desk job, just like the norm is like, graduation karo aur fir lag jao kidhar bank mein ya kidhar to almost ready to mentally sit in that cubicle space. But I was lucky, I was fortunate that some force or some energy was looking out for me, like, and I was always good at sports. I was always good at swimming and like, various other activities, physical activities. And back then, one of my aunts, she was working with the Oberoi hotels in Mumbai, and she was in HR and admin. So she was like, we have a vacancy as a lifeguard. The salary is absolutely like, bare minimum. Why don't you give it a shot? And I was like, this sounds fantastic. This is just perfect. What, like, it was up my alley. And I think my very first salary was approximately, if I'm not mistaken, 1,800 rupees a month. And but and it just so happened that yesterday a few friends of mine had come from Bangalore, and and they wanted to go to the Marine Drive. They wanted to see the, like, that part of town. So I said, like, okay, fine, let's go. And along the entire Marine Drive, there was so much crowd. So as soon as they saw the crowd, and they were like, okay, fine, we don't want to be around over here. Let's go somewhere else. So I said that, okay, hold on. Let me take you to my ex-workplace. So I took them to the poolside where I used to sit. So coming back to the topic, and like, it was such a beautiful thing for a first job to happen, because the view was fantastic. You would get the entire South Mumbai ka, right from the governor's house to the entire Queen's Necklace ka view. And for a starter, like, it was, I would have hoped for more money, but I was just perfectly happy with, like, not being in a cubicle. So that really worked out well. So one would think that, but you joined as a lifeguard, then how did massage therapy come into the picture? So that was during a time when, excuse me, there was a lot of multi-skilling craze that was going on, like, a lot of emphasis on you should develop your skills in various platforms and everything. And that's when I was told by management that, like, you'll also have to learn the craft of massage therapy. So I said, okay. So I think one thing that was good in me, like, there was a natural ability to, like, be open to various things. So the opportunities were always there, so I said, okay. So I got trained internally by my colleagues, and after training for a few months, they put me under rotation, and that's where my journey really began. In a, I would say, not so formal setting. Then I joined another chain, which was the Jiva Spa in Taj, and I was directly given an assignment to go to Maldives to work. So back, and that was back in 2005. So it was during then that, like, it was the reopening time, because it was hit by the tsunami. And so a lot of trainers were flown in, like, from the corporate team, and an extensive training for around 3 to 4 months was conducted in different kind of massages, different kind of facials, body treatments. So that was actually the beginning of my formal journey with spas.
Nice. So tell me this, like, what do we mean by this term immersive healing? Like, we hear it now, but I don't know, like, as an audience, like, do we really understand? And why do you use the word massage therapy, like, as if it's like, something that is healing us, something that is curing us for health? Because I would assume that this is something we do for fun and something we do for relaxation. But if you could just tell a little bit about the science behind it, how does it actually work? How is it therapeutic in nature?
Understand. So I'll give you a really good example. If you go to the theater to watch a very beautiful movie, let's say a movie that you've been very excited to watch, yeah, and you sit in the theater, and the movie starts, and along with the movie, the entire auditorium is just lit up with lights. Do you think you're going to enjoy the movie?
No, it doesn't.
Enjoy the movie, right?
Yeah.
So that is what it means by, like, if the right kind of ambience is created, what you're viewing is gripping, what you are experiencing is very like, interesting. That's when the immersive aspect comes in, like, so be it the service, be it the product, or the ambience and everything, like, it's not just one or two things, it's just an amalgamation of all the things that are put together that gives it the immersive experience. So this was a twofold question, if I'm not mistaken. So immersive sound experience is a project that started 9 months back. What started off as a playful experiment has now gained so much momentum. Like, in the last 9 months, we have attended to almost 1,800 people.
Okay.
And out of which there was just one individual that in the middle of the session just got up, went out of the studio, and asked for one of our attendants to bring her bag outside, and she just left. So we didn't really have a chance to meet with her also post the session to find out, like, what if something went wrong, if she's okay. But 99.99% of the participants that have experienced our sessions have just kind of been very touched by it. Like, it really has been quite profound for them. So why immersive sound experience? Firstly, because sound is very universal. We all, I mean, a major chunk of population has heard some sort of music form which has started from their childhood up until now, so music always has been kind of a steady companion for me too. And this was something that actually started when the founder of Immersive Sound Experience, a very dear friend of mine, who's a singer and songwriter and a tattoo artist. He's been an artist and all these things since the last 20-21 years. So he did a program in Auroville with there's an organization called Swaram over there, where they design and make instruments also, and they conduct sound baths and they conduct training sessions over there in sound healing. So he attended the session, and he was like, this is exactly something that a city as crazy like Mumbai needs, because if we see there is a pattern that is unraveling, people are running after all those materialistic things, and even after getting all those materialistic things, they are not happy. They're still miserable. They are still miserable in their BMW cars. They are still miserable with the best of foods and the best of clothes that they're wearing. Everything is there, but there's still there's something still missing. The immersive sound experience, the sessions that we conduct have given the opportunity to people to get in touch with their true nature. The true nature of a human being is to be at peace, is to be in a space which is very comforting, which is very meditative, and which is very natural. But the essence of what it is to be a human, it's totally lost. So we want to bring back that. We want to bring back the connect that human beings have with the earth that we so dearly enjoy. Everything that we have enjoyed has come out of this earth. But is there awareness about that? Absolutely not. So our main aim is to start making people a bit conscious, bit by bit, one person at a time. Well, in our case, groups at a time. But that's been our aim. It's the need of the hour post the pandemic, post COVID. It's people think that it's all done and dusted, and it's a thing of the past. But no, we are seeing the repercussions of it still. There is a massive amount of population. If you Google these results, how many people have committed suicides in India, the numbers are very shocking. And out of that number, this is a study, this is something that if we really as a society are concerned about the well-being of each other and our children and the generations to come, this is something that everyone needs to take very seriously. Because if we are staying in a society where children are taking their own lives, then the society has failed them in some way or the other.
Absolutely. I think you have touched upon some very, very interesting and very, I would say, deep observations. People are having everything. So today we can buy things instantly. We can have, all those instant gratifications, but
Yes.
still you're not happy. But still, like you rightly mentioned, in a BMW, you are sad. Children are taking life. And, in fact, I was going through these stats that in teenage suicides, India is the highest number. Now that is a shame. That's a shame. That's a something which should be taken up by government as well. And what you are doing, and especially through sound therapy, immersive sound therapy, which I now understand is like a form of meditation and a form of you're using sound as a tool to get more in touch with yourself. Yes, Mr. Hormazd. So tell me, what does a typical class look like? So how does a typical class or a typical session looks like, because it sounds quite interesting, and like the way you're describing it, it looks like a very, very relaxing experience, and maybe at some point I'd like to try it. But if you could just give, like, what exactly happened in that class, and how does it, you feel, how does it benefit the user?
Sure. So it's safe to say that, like, that there is this entire momentum uh, in life these days, where people are looking for different things to do, right? The seeking is increasing, like, more and more people either are resorting to, like, uh, ways, and they're finding ways to, like, if today is life like this, how can I make it better? So consciously or unconsciously, they are trying to do things that, well, like, either will give them a better experience or something, like, it's like it's like an ongoing process of evolution. So there is an upsurge of inquiry, there's an upsurge of seekers, like, where uh, they come looking for either a blissed out experience or relaxation, or let's say just experimenting, like, they want to try something new. uh, and so we have people that have come in, like, from all walks of life, be it housewives to yoga teachers to industrialists to businessmen to musicians to anyone and everyone. So all they have to do is just come in, show up, sit for approximately around 5 minutes while I take them through the guided process, and then we just make them lie down. And 95% of the entire session is happening with them lying down.
So then, like, when they are lying down, is that a guided meditation type of process, or you're playing some music?
For the first 10 minutes, the guided process is ongoing, along with very mild, like, background music, or, like, the instruments that we play, which are designed in such a way that will help them to go deeper and deeper and deeper, basically. So it's very minimal, it's very I don't know how to say this, but, like, it's not excessive, like, it's just what is needed at that given point in time, because uh, the instructions shouldn't be lost during that initial phase, like, but most of the times people start snoring within 5 minutes time of them lying down. So that becomes like an extra bit of music and sound for us to play with.
Nice.
uh,
Which
but
type of instruments do you play in this? Is it like is it some way like Hindustani classical music, or is it like Western classical music?
these are not musical instruments. These are very different instruments. They uh, have resonating abilities, wherein it can take people, like, into deeper states of restfulness just by the reverberation of the sound and its frequencies. So we have resonance pipes. So broadly categorized, they are metallic string instruments, wind instruments, and percussions, basically.
Okay.
So there is the oldest wind instrument, which is dated around even 40,000 years back, which the Aborigines used to use to connect themselves with animals and, like, with the divine forces, and used to always also use to, like, for healing and therapeutic purposes. It's called the didgeridoo. It's like a long, like, wooden stick, which is, like,
Bansuri, like some version of Bansuri? No,
much bigger,
much bigger. Okay.
much bigger. Yeah. So that gives a very strong, bassy, earthy, root rooted sound. And I was very moved by, it's something very interesting that I would want to share, is that recently a bunch of us got certified in the integrated sonic sciences and practices in Auroville, in Swaram. And there was one case study that was done by a very dear friend of mine who's a Korean girl. She plays the didgeridoo for premature babies.
Okay.
And she has successfully managed to capture data where over a period of time, when she played the didgeridoo combined with her father's voice, combined with other few electrically generated voice sounds, the frequency of the baby the crying frequency of the baby just came drastically down over a period of time.
Nice.
So the the kind of sounds that the babies have, that they can, it's very cocooned, right?
Yes.
It's muzzled, so it's not clear. The way we are speaking, the baby can't, the fetus can't listen to this conversation, but it's very muzzled, the sound still goes. So all those kind of sounds that the baby could hear in the womb is what she started experimenting with, and she had some amazing results.
Wow.
She did it with one.
This is definitely interesting because this is what you are saying is basically this can be used as a alternative tool, or this can be used as a complementary therapy to when we have problems. Because even I was going through a research paper which showed the effects of music on children with ADHD.
Sure.
There was also another paper which showed the effects of Rag Lalit on people with diabetes. So
Sure.
basically, so there are, and in fact, I got really curious in that. And I also, maybe researched a little bit more. And what I found out was, like, in Samved, there is a whole chapter on Rag Chikitsa. So how music is used in different type of disease. So depending upon what disorder you have, so there are different ragas. And if you play them on a regular basis, and of course, you need to have the right musicians who can play it for you, or you need to learn them, then it has some magical effect. Now, this looks like something which is, I think more people should be talking about it, because compared to the other medicines that we have, which come with a lot of side effects, which come with a lot of, you cure one thing and another disorder starts happening. You have digestive thing, and then you take antibiotics, and then you start feeling very mood swings and all those things. Now, sound therapy looks like a very promising alternative or complementary treatment, which, even if it doesn't work for the disease, it will relax you in a very nice state. And then
it's undoubtedly,
yes.
it's been the medicine of the past. It is definitely going to be the medicine of the future.
Correct. So
I would go on to saying that, so much so that, we are doing this because people have forgotten to go into the forests and have a great time.
Correct.
Instead of, I always urge my family, my friends, everyone, we have kind of almost halfway through our life, we've tried to make the best of what we have. But for our children, it is very important for them to spend that time among birds, by going to the beach and, bathing in the ocean. And all these things are very important, the nature connect. If it's missing, you're seeing all this, COVID was a very beautiful example of why it really happened. It's that constant disconnect, a huge population, dense population coming together and staying. It's a result of all that. People really need to start thinking about holistic ways of living life.
Correct. Can you share, from your experience, what kind of results you have seen in, when people come to experience these sessions and these immersive sound therapy sessions with you? What kind of experiences have you seen? What have people, some sort of, so that, the audience, whosoever is hearing this today, they get motivation. Because I'm sure, like, a lot of people who are listening to us today, somebody must be having this problem, somebody must be having mood swings, depression is so common these days,
Sure.
or like even the physiological diseases, so many diseases are there these days. So if you could share some sort of experiences which your audience or the users of immersive sound therapy may have had, this could give a hope or a new line of thinking to a lot of people who are listening to us today.
Sure. See, it is undoubtedly the age of lifestyle diseases, like, psychosomatic diseases, that we are to be blamed ourselves for that. Like, it is our inability to use our bodies and our mind in the best possible way, which is all these, like, be it depression, be it anxiety, so on and so forth, is all self brought upon. Like, no one is really at, like, at your case all given point of times. It is just your mind, like, that is creating that tandav, basically. So we have come across such unique and such interesting feedback from participants, like, where they one of them recently said that I have been struggling to sleep for such a long time, and in this 1 hour, the kind of rest I've got without sleeping, he was totally awake. He was totally awake during the entire session, but the body was absolutely still. Once the body becomes absolutely still, the mind also kind of settles down. People don't realize that there is so much of activity that is happening in the body, which they are not conscious of. So coming back to, like, the responses, like, keep bringing me back, because I have a thing about straying to different topics. But so this guy said that, like, I feel so rested that it was like, as if I've slept the entire night without any, like, disturbances. And he doesn't sleep well, basically. He doesn't he has interrupted sleep patterns. So he was like, this is in a very long time I've felt, like, so well rested. And this is just 1 hour session, dear. Just 1 hour. Then there was another one, the session that we conducted in a 5-star hotel. I've been requested not to disclose their name. But so we've been conducting sessions in 5-star hotels and, like, in various corporates and stuff. And one person said that, is it normal to visualize some beings? And I said, well, like, anything is possible. And that was during a time when that, like, that phase where we offer prayers to the ancestors, like, the Pitru Paksha or something, like, that it was during that time. So she said that, like, she saw 3 beings, like, dressed in shining robes of yellow, blue, and gold, and, like, it was just, so she was like, maybe I'm hallucinating, maybe I'm not, but it felt really very real. Then there have been cases where people have shed quite a lot. So one of our themes, so we have designed various themes. We've designed themes on forgiveness, we've designed themes on the earth sense, we've designed theme which we call as gratitude. So over a period of time, we want for people to kind of let go of certain things that don't serve themselves in their lives, So there are so many things that we've built up and, like, we've kind of either suppressed or we've taken it upon ourselves, and it's just there. These patterns don't allow people to, like, go full stride in life, So we help them, like, with these sounds, like, there are times when certain emotions and sentiments are evoked. So people have been in tears sometimes, like, and by the time, like, they finish the session, they feel like as if such a very heavy burden has just dropped from their body. They start feeling lighter, they start feeling, and there's a natural smile on their face. How many people, tell me, how many people in the entire day when you walk on the street have smiles on their faces?
Yeah, I know. One point, I did this experiment. I was going to office and I thought, let me count. And it's so unfortunate, like hardly any. So children had, so like
Yeah,
if they are young and they're
yeah,
playing
yeah,
and all, so
yeah,
that was the case. But in adults, like maybe rarely. And
yeah,
it's such a shame. It's such a
yeah,
shame.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my guru says that when children come into your life, it is not time to teach them, it is time to learn from them.
Learn from them. Exactly.
Because if they are joyful all the time, which
Correct.
is a very natural way for a human being to be, should
Correct.
we teach them all our
Or
nonsense, or
learn
should
from
we
them.
learn? They should be consultants of our life and not the
Exactly.
other way around.
Exactly. Exactly. So
So
something
yeah,
I
a
think
very
this
mixed feedback from
is.
a lot of participants.
Hmm.
Uh, some described it as a very blissful state, like, that that she heard that, like, there are words, and words like nirvana, or being in absolutely deeper states of samadhi, and, like, so there was one person who said that I've just heard about all these words. Today I may have got a glimpse about it also. So people experience visuals also, they experience sounds with, like, even with their eyes closed, they see visuals, they see colors. For me, I don't go in with any intention. I allow the body to do what it does best. Our bodies are very intelligent. If you just create the right kind of atmosphere and a conducive space, like, the body will retune, reorganize, restructure it in the most fantastic ways. So my experiences have been just, like, just bodily sensations, which I personally feel is the energy system at play, because the body is absolutely still, it's not moving. But we feel like, sometimes you would feel a tingling sensation or a pulsating sensations or waves going across your body. So that's, I allow for that to happen.
Very nice. No, this is something very interesting you mentioned, and I'm so glad, like, we are talking today, and through this platform, we are actually bringing this knowledge out that there are tools which people can use to. Simplest of it is relax yourself, but there are so
Sure.
many deeper levels which you are talking about, like, if people have hidden guilt, if people have hidden emotions, and again, like I was going through another research which recently came, which talks about that 90% of the diseases today are psychosomatic in nature. So when people have such type of deep hidden emotions like guilt or unforgiveness and things like that,
Yes,
it
yes,
does over time results into a physical ailment. So we
absolutely.
have so many cases these days of cancer, so many diabetes, you hear it all the time everywhere.
Yes,
And
yes,
if a lot of these are actually the result of something hidden deep inside, then this is potentially a very, very good tool which people can easily use. Now, my
absolutely.
thing as an audience, like, I want to ask you this question. Let's say
Yes,
I am completely sold out that, okay, this is the thing and this is something I should try. I may
sure.
be having one or two or three problems in my life, and this is something I want to try. But let's say I'm not in Mumbai, I'm sitting in Delhi, I'm sitting in US. How do I get access to this? And how do I get continued access to this? So,
Sure.
like, one is like, if I'm not near this session where the session is happening, how can I use the electronic medium to access this type of tools? And then I'm sure, like, maybe if I taste it once, I would like to taste it every now and then. So how
Sure.
do I get continued access to such programs?
See, this is a twofold answer also. Like, I feel that when a person physically attends the sound bath, it is not that they are just listening through the ear. The entire body is listening. So when it comes to digital platforms, there is a slight restriction that happens. Like, for example, in these concerts and everything, where the maestros are playing, the legends like Hari Prasad Chaurasya and the Bhimsen Joshis and the works basically, like they put in their life's work in their their sadhana is like just unbelievable. The level of involvement and attention that goes into their entire performance, people are moved and they are touched in so many different ways. It won't be the same when they put earphones on. I'm not saying that nothing will happen, but it will be a totally different scenario when you experience it firsthand, when you're physically present over there. For those people who can't, so in Mumbai, we conduct it in various places, mostly in the Bandra area and in Kalagoda. But for those people who are not in Mumbai, I'm sure there are sound healers in Delhi, there are sound healers in Bangalore. We have an entire network of healers across India. So I would be very glad to share which healer is in which part of India, so that people can start getting access to these immersive experiences. If that is something that some people price is always a sensitive thing, and in that case I would say that this is an age and time where, be it on YouTube or on Spotify, you'll get n number of recordings and beautiful recordings. So if someone can let's say, for example, search for gong bath, GONG bath, or a sound bath, or let's say Koshi chimes, okay, and all these sound healing instruments that are used. There was one time when I conducted a session when I didn't have any instruments, and I just used my guided meditation, and along with a recorded session of Koshi chimes, and I think it was another gong bath or something like that. And people were just, they were transported basically. So it can happen digitally also. So various platforms YouTube is there, Spotify is there. So they can refer it from there.
Very nice, very nice. And if they want to, what we are also going to do for our audience is the
Yes.
tool that you mentioned, that you will mention about, where and how they can get access to these classes in Mumbai, in Delhi,
Sure.
Bangalore. That would be extremely interesting because our audience is from across India as well as some overseas as well. And
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that after hearing this, this will actually go as a, I would say a hope that is, that whatever people are going through in their lives, the things that you're mentioning are really, I'm sure it will connect a lot with the audience, because people have everything these days. It's not like people are hungry. It's not like people don't have good clothes to wear. They have everything, but still they are unhappy. So that's a very, very deep question that everybody needs to inquire. And now when such tools are available, then definitely this is something people should be using. And
absolutely, without a doubt.
yes, and if they can get to the classes, very well. If they can't, then you have even given some tools which are electronically available, so that
Yes.
people have no excuse now to say that I will not go for the session or not do the
Exactly.
session. So at
Exactly.
least they get started in these sessions.
Yes. We are going to be conducting a workshop where our team is growing. we have a team of around 6 right now. Very soon we'll be needing more team members to conduct these sound sessions with us. So we have invited a couple of our friends who have been in the music industry for like ages together. And one is a very lovely instrumentalist and a musician. There's one friend who's she's a violin player, and she's going to be doing a workshop with us. So it's going to happen from the 24th to the 26th of this month. So if there are participants who feel that this is something that they see themselves doing, this is something that is a calling for them to make a difference in people's lives, feel free to reach out, and we can see how we can get more people in and make this like a movement. This needs to come to the forefront. This needs to be easily accessible to people, because it is this time, this age and time that I think that we are at the precipice, at a junction point where it's kind of a make or break. If people like us having the kind of tools that we have, if we don't do something right now, it's going to over a period of time, it won't be a very pleasant world to live in, so we are trying our best, and it's good that we are having this conversation, and I'm happy that a lot of people will be viewing this also. And it is our endeavor to reach millions of lives, and because not everyone can afford those expensive medical cares and healthcare regimes. When something so natural is around for people to heal themselves, then why and over a period of time, I'm sure it is going to be spread, but we need to expedite this process. So I'm glad that we are having this discussion.
No, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be talking to you, because the work that you are doing, I would say this is something which is very noble, and something which is beyond yourself, where you are trying to bring this change in the life of millions of other people. And I'm pretty sure, this is the kind of things that UVAP wants to bring forward. These are the kind of things and the people and the movements that UVAP wants to spread, where we are actually living in harmony with nature and just giving our body a chance to heal. See, we don't need to get in the way of the body when the body already is very intelligent. It already knows how to heal itself. And as you rightly mentioned, it may not just be about the money to afford the kind of healthcare cost which are there, but if something so simple is available, why even get there and go for the
Absolutely.
side effects of those
And
medicines?
this is something it's just one aspect of leading a healthy life. I would say that uh, when up until that time that we are in this body, this body needs to move, this body needs activity, it's like a machine. It's
Yeah.
the most sophisticated machine on this planet. If a machine is not run, if it is not oiled, if it's not lubricated, what is going to happen to it?
Is going to not feel good about it.
This is what we've been seeing in across humanity, where it is the age where people just want to sit back on the sofa with their snacks and just binge watch Netflix or whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you have to give your body that required attention. You have to make your body work to that level where when you go to sleep, you just instantly fall flat. You don't have to toss and turn, and oh, नींद नहीं आ रहा है, then they start popping pills. So it's like a vicious circle, like, you know.
Correct.
So just one switch, just one, like, you know, if you're going in this direction which is not serving you, you be conscious, you be aware of, like, you know, things that are not working in your life. You just change that direction just by one angle. You've made that step, like, you know. So it's the intention. It is it's that thing, like, you know, that people want to make things possible for themselves. Up until that time, like, you know, and that is what kind of it's mind-boggling that people are just totally comfortable ke haan jo hai wo hai. They've just settled and they've just given
Correct.
up.
But in fact, like
जैसे
in
चल रहा
another
है वैसे चलने दो types, like, you know.
on that, like जैसे चल रहा है वैसे चलने दो. So we had another episode in which one very nice example was given कि भगवान ने हमें बहुत बढ़िया स्पेसशिप दी है, हम उसे ऑटो रिक्शा की तरह चला के we are saying चल तो रही है. So स्पेसशिप को ऑटो रिक्शा बना दिया and we are happy कि चल तो रही है.
Very true.
No, so thank you, Mr. Hormazd. मैं आपसे अब एक लास्ट रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगी कि लेट्स से हमारी जो ऑडियंस है हमारे साथ जो पिछले 1 घंटे से बनी हुई है, सो अगर कुछ एक लेट्स से वन टेक अवे they want to take from this session, या कोई अभी अगर हमें ज्वाइन कर रहा है और वो 1 मिनट में अगर आप एक जो सिर्फ एक चीज अगर वो आज के सेशन से उन्हें सीखनी चाहिए तो वो क्या होगी?
I would say a few things, not just one. उठते साथ थोड़ा एक मुस्कुराइए, देखिए आजू बाजू में कौन है, आपके लव्ड वंस जो है जी रहे हैं, बाकी के, लाइक, यू नो, कई सारे लोग मर चुके हैं, तो आजू बाजू के लोग जी रहे हैं, आप जी रहे हो, थोड़ा स्माइल करिए, मुस्कुराइए, ना धो के दिया जलाइए. Once you light a lamp, the ether, the space around you gets cleared up. Start chanting. Start using your instrument as a sound instrument, so that when you chant, just something as simple as an Om Namah Shivaya, it's the Maha Mantra. These 3 words, if you chant it with a certain level of intensity, like, you know, it will take you to another level altogether. No need for sound baths, no nothing. Just chanting. Then you can please start eating some healthy food. घर का खाना ज़्यादातर खाओ. Once in a while you can eat outside. Try to stay away from packaged and processed foods. That is like a big no-no. All your diet sodas and carbonated waters, big no-no. They advertise it as the real thing, but it is the artificial thing. Okay. Meditate, exercise, and exercise that much, put that much work in your body should feel that it is tough living on in this life. Okay. And after that, the kind of sleep that you'll get, automatically your eyes will open up in the morning and you'll be well rested. So we are always around, like, you know, we can have a follow-up chat also if there is some particular topic that people want to, like, you know, discuss about and hear about. We can have discussions on that also. But for now, I think I've talked enough and bored you all enough.
No. It was such a lovely session, Mr. Hormazd. Like, I am so excited that, you know, this is something new that, you know, we have brought to the audience. And I hope, you know, we can have a follow-up session where we do one live session for the audience, like, you know,
Sure.
do one
Yes.
live experience session for the audience. And I would love for you to come back again. And thank you so much. You have given us so many beautiful tips for our body, mind, as well as deeper within. So I hope audience have learned a lot. And thank you, Mr. Hormazd.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.